In this lesson, I'll discuss adding users to Linux. Adding users to Linux is a common task that system administrators may perform over the course of managing a Linux system. Now, depending on what scripts that you might have implemented on, let's say, a Kickstart file, for example, the integration that we have with maybe another directory like Active Directory may do some of these tasks for you, but let's go over them individually. So I'll discuss the commands that we use to enter in users into Linux and some of the caveats that we have as well and what I've seen over the years. Now, most Linux systems use a command called user add. Now, if I type in sudo user add and then the account that I want to create, it's going to create not only the home directory, but it's going to create the permissions for that home directory and also the shell that the user is going to have as well. So I'm just going to enter this here and enter my password for Greg. And now the account is created. I can check that the account is created by doing one of two things. Since I'm already in the home directory, I can just list what files I have. So here's my account, G. Williams, and G. Williams is the user and the group owners of that directory. Additionally, I can go into the etc password file and look to see if the account was created there. But before I do that, let's add a password for my G. Williams account. So I'm going to type in sudo passwd G. Williams, hit enter, and enter password. Retype the password, and it's created the password successfully. So let's look at the etc password file for a minute. Here we'll notice that we have three different users. I have Greg, Greg Test, and G. Williams. The X indicates that I've set a password for that user. I have a user ID as well as my home directory and the shell that that user has. Since some of the scripts, because different distributions use user add in different ways, let's look at a more mainstream Linux distribution such as CentOS, which is the binary equivalent of Red Hat. Typically, we're going to see this distribution being used more in an enterprise environment. So let's get more familiar with what we can change for the defaults. So I'll type in sudo vi etc default user add. So here I can change the group, I can change the home directory. Inactive, I can make it active. When the account expires, and the shell, and the create mail spooler. I can change or I can add several other attributes if I would like, but these are the most common that I'm going to use. Now let's go back into the etc password field. On many of these, we notice that there is a shell called sbin no login. This means that we're going to use an account, which is basically a service account, that allows us just to use a service and execute commands, but it doesn't allow the user that we create to log in anywhere. If we want to lock a user out, this is the quickest way to lock somebody out of their account. This would be in the cases if we wanted to, if somebody was leaving the organization. So in conclusion, adding users is a very easy process. We need to understand how we create users and what fields that we need to enter to make sure that we're setting permissions correctly and that the user has a good experience when they log in.